Britney Spears had no legal rights, no financial control, and no voice in her own life. For 13 years, one of the world's biggest pop stars lived like a prisoner in a golden cage. Britney Spears earned an estimated $60 million during her conservatorship, but was given a weekly allowance of just $2,000. Meanwhile, her father, Jamie Spears, collected approximately $6 million, and business management firm TriStar obtained $18 million from her estate. But on November 12, 2021, Judge Brenda Penny officially terminated the conservatorship, restoring Spears' full legal rights after nearly 14 years.
A judge ruling after 14 years, Britney Spears' conservatorship has been terminated. Can you break this down for me?
The question isn't just how this happened. The question is how one woman finally beat a system designed to be unbeatable. To understand this story, we need to go back to the beginning. Back when Britney Spears was just a small-town girl with big dreams. Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2nd, 1981, in Macomb, Mississippi, and raised in Kentwood, Louisiana. She displayed an early aptitude for singing and dancing, winning local talent competitions from a young age. Her pursuit of a performing career led her to New York City, where she attended the Professional Performing Arts School, secured an understudy role in an off-Broadway musical, and appeared on Star Search. In 1992, she was cast in Disney Channel's The All-New Mickey Mouse Club, alongside future stars like Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling. After the show's cancellation in 1994, Spears returned to Louisiana but quickly sought to resume her career. At 15, a demo tape led to a development deal with Jive Records. Her debut single, Baby One More Time, released in 1998, propelled her to international stardom. The album debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200 chart, selling over 10 million copies worldwide. She quickly followed this success with her second album, Oops, I Did It Again in 2000, and Britney in 2001, coinciding with her leading role in the film Crossroads. But fame came with a price that no teenager should have to pay. Her early career was marked by intense sexualization and objectification, with her debut characterized by a sexy schoolgirl persona. Critics and academic studies noted that this portrayal bordered on, or even crossed into, child pornography imagery. Publications like Rolling Stone featured her in what critics called soft porn fantasy photo shoots. This sexualized persona was not only popular, but also widely imitated by young girls, even years after its release, indicating a broader societal impact on the socialization of female sexual objectification. The constant focus extended to her personal life, with interviews frequently questioning her virginity and sex life.
I was wondering how you feel about all the constant speculation about your virginity.
I really wish I would have never said anything to begin with, because I'm kind of stuck in this little place where people are always asking.
The media's framing of female pop stars often forces them into a Madonna-whore dichotomy, where they are either seen as sexually innocent and good, or promiscuous and bad. Spears, initially marketed with a girl-next-door appeal, quickly transitioned to a hypersexual performer, a transformation that often provoked widespread condemnation and slut-shaming. The early 2000s saw Spears navigate intense media scrutiny of her high-profile relationships, including with Justin Timberlake. Her personal life became constantly discussed online and in magazines, a situation that intensified significantly after her marriage to Kevin Federline in 2004 and the birth of their two sons, Sean Preston and Jaden James. And the media scrutiny of Spears only intensified with her motherhood, with tabloids relentlessly publishing images and headlines that questioned her fitness as a mother. Incidents like driving with her infant son on her lap, though defended by Spears as a country practice, drew heavy criticism and were used to frame her negatively. This pervasive tabloid culture of the 2000s subjected women to an acidic scrutiny amplified by the rise of the internet and social media. Women in the public eye, including Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Paris Hilton, became popular punchlines, their struggles framed as entertainment. This belittling of women was not only normalized but became a lucrative business, reinforcing deeply set misogynistic cultural norms. This is where the story takes a darker turn. Spears herself described feeling watched from every corner and being a little depressed that she was no longer keeping them safe inside her body, leading to overprotective parenting behaviors. She was struggling with postpartum depression, as she later revealed in her memoir, The Woman in Me. She noted noted that the communication and conversation around mental health in her time was not as evolved or accepting as we have it today. The relentless public scrutiny exacerbated her struggles with postpartum depression, with the absence of open conversations about mental health meaning her symptoms were often misinterpreted and sensationalized. A period of profound personal struggles began in 2007, marked by highly publicized incidents, including shaving her head, brief stints in drug rehabilitation facilities, and a custody battle with Kevin Federline. The result was that she lost physical custody of her children in January 2008. Police intervention was required when she refused to return her children to Federline, leading to her being taken from her home by paramedics. Child welfare investigators also looked into multiple child abuse and neglect allegations in the custody dispute. Public speculation about her mental state was rampant, with some sources suggesting she might have bipolar disorder. Her public struggles in 2007, including the infamous head-shaving incident and attacking a paparazzi car with an umbrella, were widely consumed as entertainment.
Please, guys. Don't, guys, please, guys, don't do this.
Rather than recognised as signs of a mental health crisis. The media portrayed her as violent, psychotic, insane, and a bad mother. All this despite her previous status as a national treasure. Instead of getting help, she got something far worse. In February 2008, amidst these crises, a Los Angeles Superior Court commissioner placed Britney Spears and her estate under a temporary conservatorship. Here's where the system reveals its true nature. Now please bear with me for the next few minutes where I explain how conservatorship actually works. It might sound boring, but trust me, it will help you understand just how cruel the system was to Britney. California law provides for conservatorships as a legal mechanism to manage the affairs of individuals deemed unable to care for themselves or their finances due to mental incapacity, age, or physical disability. The person under conservatorship is referred to as the conservatee. California distinguishes between two types: a probate conservatorship, typically for those unable to manage financial affairs, and a Lanterman-Petrish Short or LPS conservatorship for individuals requiring involuntary mental health treatment due to grave disability. Grave disability is defined as an inability to provide for basic personal needs like food, clothing, and shelter as a result of a mental disorder, or being unwilling or unable to accept third-party help.
To the list of people eligible for a conservatorship if they aren't able to provide for their own safety or medical care, in addition to food, clothing, or shelter, they can be forced to get treatment.
The process generally begins with a petition to the court, which then examines the individual's finances, health, and wishes. The potential conservatee must receive notice of the petition to make their wishes known. A judge can appoint a family member or an independent party as conservator, who then has a fiduciary duty to act in the conservatee's best interests. Conservators are required to provide regular financial accountings to the court and must seek court permission for major financial or medical decisions. The stated legal grounds for its imposition were concerns about her mental health and erratic behaviour. It's widely reported that the initial approval process took just 10 minutes, though this detail remains unverified in available court records. Her father, James "Jamie" Spears, was named conservator of her person, and he and attorney Andrew Wallet were named conservators of her estate. This conservatorship, initially temporary, was later made permanent in October 2008. While some sources link the conservatorship to alleged drug and substance abuse, legal experts questioned whether her alleged alcoholism or mental health issues alone would warrant such a restrictive measure, noting that many individuals with similar struggles are not placed under conservatorship. But here's what makes this case so disturbing. Under the conservatorship, Jamie Spears and co-conservator Andrew Wallet gained extensive control over Spears' life and finances. This included managing her estimated $60 million fortune, restricting visitors, communicating with doctors about her treatment, and negotiating business deals. Spears' conservators were required to submit detailed accounts of her purchases to the court, even for minor charges. She was not entitled to make final decisions in any area of her life, with all choices subject to her conservator's veto. Think about that for a moment. A grown woman, earning millions of dollars, performing for thousands of people, couldn't decide what to buy at the grocery store. She couldn't choose her own lawyer. She couldn't decide who to marry. She couldn't even decide whether to have more children. During her conservatorship, Britney Spears remained a highly successful and profitable artist, generating millions of dollars through various ventures, including her Las Vegas residency. Despite her substantial earnings, she reportedly had limited access to her own funds, with reports indicating a weekly allowance of $2,000. Jamie Spears received a monthly salary as conservator of around $16,000 per month, plus $2,000 for office space rent. He was also approved by the court to receive a percentage of various deals signed for his daughter. Over the course of the conservatorship, Jamie Spears reportedly received an estimated $6 million. TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group, led by Lou Taylor, also played a significant financial role, serving as Spears' business manager from 2008 through 2020. Taylor has been credited by Spears as the person who established her conservatorship. Spears' legal team investigated TriStar's involvement in establishing the conservatorship, alleging that Jamie Spears accepted a $40,000 loan from TriStar before the conservatorship was established and then hired the firm to manage Britney's affairs. TriStar reportedly obtained $18 million from Britney's estate over the course of the arrangement. These allegations of a loan preceding the conservatorship and subsequent hiring of TriStar raised questions about the motives behind the conservatorship's creation and the exorbitant fees paid to the firm. Meanwhile, Spears herself reportedly had a weekly allowance of $2,000. The math here is staggering. She generated millions but lived on what amounts to less than minimum wage when you consider her earning potential. Everyone around her was getting rich, except her. The financial structure of the conservatorship meant that while Spears continued to be a world-class entertainer, she lacked unfettered access to her earnings and had no legal autonomy over her financial decisions. Her conservator had complete authority over her finances, including signing contracts and managing investments. This arrangement, while ostensibly for her protection, allowed others to profit significantly from her continued work. But the financial control was just the beginning. Spears herself publicly alleged that the conservatorship was abusive. Her claims included being forced to use a birth control device against her will, taking medication, and working against her wishes. She stated that she was unaware of her father's financial actions and did not believe he was acting in her best interests. She also alleged being forced into therapy sessions at facilities where paparazzi were present. These allegations highlighted a critical tension between the conservatorship's stated protective purpose and its practical application, where it appeared to strip Spears of fundamental personal and reproductive rights. This wasn't protection, this was control. The imposition of a conservatorship, particularly an LPS conservatorship, is typically reserved for individuals deemed gravely disabled due to mental illness, meaning they are unable to provide for their basic needs or accept help. It allows for involuntary treatment, including mandated medication and placement in a locked psychiatric facility. Such measures significantly curtail an individual's autonomy, liberty, and due process rights. While a mentally competent adult has the legal right to refuse medical treatment, this right can be overridden if they are deemed mentally incompetent by a court or pose a threat to the community. Taking a quick pause here, more than 90% of you guys have not subscribed to the channel, and I would really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. These videos take a lot of time to read through and put together these stories. I would really appreciate if you could show your support in the form of a subscription. Now let's get back to Britney. Before we continue with what happened next, let me explain why this system was so hard to escape. The termination of a conservatorship typically requires a petition to the court, with evidence demonstrating that the protected person is competent to manage their own affairs. The court prioritizes the best interests of the conservatee, but here's the catch. Who decides what's in her best interests? The same system that was profiting from keeping her under control. The nature of Spears' conservatorship, despite her continued professional success, raised significant questions about the system's flexibility and accountability. The case brought to light how a legal framework intended for protection can, in practice, become a tool for prolonged control, particularly when the conservatee is a high-earning individual and the conservators have direct financial incentives. Critics argued that the conservatorship failed to adapt as her mental health reportedly improved, highlighting systemic flaws where judges and conservators may be inclined to maintain the arrangement. Legal experts questioned whether her alleged mental health issues alone would warrant such a restrictive measure, noting that many individuals with similar struggles are not placed under conservatorship. So how did she finally break free? The answer lies with an unlikely group of heroes, her fans. The hashtag Free Britney movement, a grassroots fan-led initiative, emerged as a significant force in challenging Britney Spears' conservatorship.
Britney Spears, now! Free Britney Spears, never controlled from any trouble nonsense. Free Britney Spears!
The movement gained substantial momentum in 2019, driven by a growing concern among fans regarding Spears' ongoing legal arrangement. Hashtag Free Britney originated as an online campaign advocating for Spears' autonomy and her release from the control exercised by her father and others involved in the conservatorship. A pivotal moment in the movement's evolution was an April 2019 episode of the podcast Britney's Gram. This podcast, initially known for its detailed close reading of Spears' Instagram posts, analysing captions, images, and emoticon usage, transformed diffuse fan concern into a coherent narrative of alleged abuse. The podcast laid out a timeline of events that supported the assertion that Spears was being held against her will, reportedly fueled by an alleged voicemail from a paralegal connected to Spears' conservatorship. This meticulous close reading of publicly available information, combined with alleged insider details, served as a powerful interpretive lens that transformed previously vague fan concerns into a structured argument. Think about this for a moment. Fans were doing what lawyers, judges, and journalists had failed to do for over a decade. They were actually paying attention. Fans engaged in a close reading or forensic examination of Spears' online output, most notably her Instagram account. This involves scrutinizing her posts for half-hidden clues, telltale signs, and secret messages that appeared to contradict the official narrative of her well-being and willingness to remain under conservatorship. This fan-driven investigative method extended beyond social media to include analysis of court documents, interviews, and mainstream media reports, allowing the community to construct an alternative explanation using publicly available evidence. Online organising was multi-platform, leveraging Instagram, Twitter, and dedicated websites for diverse forms of engagement. These platforms facilitated live streaming, sharing commentary from legal experts, disseminating court documents, and coordinating advocacy opportunities such as multi-city events and rallies. Twitter proved to be an important site for counter-public engagement due to its architecture, the micro-celebrity status of many participants, and their connections to news outlets and advocacy groups. The movement was further fueled by allegations that Spears had been held against her will in a mental health facility since mid-January 2019, and that she was forced to take medication after reportedly refusing to extend her lucrative Las Vegas residency. These claims, disseminated through online channels, provided concrete grievances around which fans could rally. The movement successfully swayed public opinion, leading to a critical reassessment of the intense misogyny Spears had faced throughout her career, and prompting questions about the dominant narrative surrounding her mental state. The release of the Framing Britney Spears documentary in February 2021 significantly renewed public interest in the movement and contributed to a profound shift in public perception of her situation. The documentary's portrayal of the unquestioned sexism that shaped public understanding for 2 decades encouraged viewers to reflect on their own complicity and the broader cultural context of her conservatorship. This wasn't just fandom, this was investigative journalism by the people who cared most, and it worked. The combined force of the documentary and sustained digital activism created a critical mass of public pressure that directly influenced the legal proceedings. But the real breakthrough came when Britney herself finally spoke. In June 2021, Spears delivered a powerful public testimony in court, calling the conservatorship abusive and demanding its termination.
Ma'am, my dad and anyone involved in this conservatorship and my management who played a huge role in punishing me when I said, no, ma'am, they should be in jail.
This testimony, widely reported, was a turning point. This public outcry and the subsequent legal advocacy were crucial in empowering Spears to take more direct action. For the first time in 13 years, the world heard her voice. Not through a filter, not through a representative, not through a carefully crafted statement. Her voice, her truth, her demand for freedom. Subsequently, she was granted the right to hire her own attorney, Matthew Rosengart, who aggressively pursued the case, exposing alleged financial mismanagement and abuse of power by Jamie Spears. Jamie Spears eventually filed to end the conservatorship himself in September 2021 and was suspended as conservator later that month. Why would he suddenly want to end something that had been making him millions? Because the walls were closing in. Spears' legal team investigated allegations that Jamie Spears accepted a $40,000 loan from TriStar before the conservatorship was established, and then hired the firm to manage Britney's affairs. The financial web was unraveling, the public support was overwhelming, and most importantly, Britney had found her voice. On November 12, 2021, Judge Brenda Penny officially terminated the conservatorship, restoring Spears' full legal rights after nearly 14 years. The conservatorship's termination was widely regarded as a resounding victory for Britney and the #FreeBritney movement. Spears herself publicly credited the movement for saving her life, but this story doesn't end with her freedom. It begins with it. While the conservatorship was terminated, legal disputes continued regarding financial issues, including Jamie Spears' legal fees. Britney Spears ultimately agreed to pay $2.12 million in her father's outstanding legal bills as part of a settlement in April 2024, though the agreement stated no admission of wrongdoing by either party. Think about that. Even after winning her freedom, she still had to pay millions to the people who controlled her. But her victory sparked something bigger. The success of the #FreeBritney movement in achieving its primary goal demonstrates how a digitally mobilized counter-narrative could accurately identify and expose a masked injustice, forcing it into the public eye and compelling action. The movement's impact extended beyond Spears' individual case, prompting broader public and legal discourse about conservatorship in general. Experts have suggested that if other conservatorship cases receive similar publicity and social media focus, more individuals might be empowered to seek freedom from restrictive arrangements. The movement's influence also translated into multiple, tangible legislative reforms. Her case exposed how systems designed to protect can become tools of control when financial incentives override human rights. Her story reminds us that protection without choice is just control with better branding, that financial incentives can corrupt even the most well-intentioned systems, and that sometimes the people who care most, the fans, the community, the digital activists, are the ones who see what everyone else misses. For 13 years, the system told us Britney Spears needed protection. In the end, she needed protection from the system. But she found something more powerful than any legal framework: her voice, amplified by millions of others who refused to stay silent. The system versus the star. And for once, the star won. But more importantly, her victory opened a door that can never be closed again. A door to freedom, to voice, to the fundamental right to control your own life. That's a victory worth celebrating and worth protecting. Well, I hope you found the video interesting. I would really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. While you are here, the YouTube gods think you will like this video on the screen. Do give it a watch. Thank you.